All right. Let's do this. Let's see if I can ace this on
I gotta
the
like
first
get my jitters out of the way.
shot. Just break the ice a while. Here we go. Erica, it's here. Who would have thought? Are you ready for this? Because our next guest on the pod is someone we've talked about for quite a while now. It's no secret that this is Erica's dream guest. She's an ultra marathoner. She's ran in the UK Olympic marathon trials. You've seen her on live TV and on your Peloton screens. She's the mother of Maurice, Dot, Coco, and beautiful Lady T. It is our pleasure to welcome the one and only Becs Gentry to the On the Runs podcast. What is up, Bex? How are you doing?
Hi, what an intro. That's probably my favorite one I've ever had.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm blushing.
You're as giggly as me right now. I'm so excited you're able to join us today. We've been looking forward to this for months now, and I just have to rein it in a little bit. What, you were talking to her around my birthday, so that was like June.
You're right. You're right. I've been trying. You're right. But for years, I've been hearing about Becs Gentry. Even before we had a podcast, it's like I'm a Matt Wilpers guy, and I always took his classes. And she's like, "You got to take a Becs class. You got to take a Becs class." And it took COVID for me to like venture out to other people. And I'm like, I like this Becs girl. She's pretty good. You know what you're talking about, Erica.
Duh. I wouldn't lie to you, man. I wouldn't lie to you.
Well, thank you both very much for Erica for staying with me and for you for venturing out. I've got to be honest.
I got to break the ice here a little bit. I'm big into motorsports. I used to work in NASCAR, and I was on pit road changing tires, and I saw that you were at the F1 race in Las Vegas recently. How was that?
I was. It was unreal. Anyone who takes my classes ever, specifically if it happened to be recorded on a Sunday or a live class on a Sunday, knows I'm a huge Formula One fan and have been ever since I was a little girl. Like I used to stand in front of the Formula One when I was tiny in front of the TV and tell my parents what was happening. They're like, yeah, we can see. Can you just move? And then to start going to races as I got older was really awesome. And then, I was going to go to the Vegas Grand Prix this weekend. Anyway, I was on PTO, and then we had an incredible event opportunity that came up with Peloton and Chase Sapphire. And so they were like, well, this works really well, doesn't it? And off I went. Honestly, I was there. I went to qualifying evening by myself. I just went in, walked around, and I just love it. There's just something about, I have cheek ache from just smiling at the cars and the atmosphere. It was very showy for sure. The beauty of F1 is, I think, the perfect lap, finding that glorious smoothness as the drivers get through. I'm talking as though I drive, I wish. But it was that, but it was also, the world has changed. F1 has become incredibly popular, and it's become a bit of a celebrity attraction. And it was so cool.
I have to say, I do follow your stories, and you've been to one in Quebec as well, right? And I think you got to meet Daniel Ricciardo, and I was like jealous of that. He's one of the hunkier ones, so I was a little jealous. I was like, okay, this is really cool though. Pretty much. But as much as I used to watch it with my boyfriend. Well, we sadly don't have cable anymore, but he still follows along a little bit better than me. Yeah. But we are Mercedes fans, and just Red Bull kind of took off with it though, and we were kind of sad about what happened with Mercedes. They just haven't been able to pick it back up again.
I know, it was such a shame. They came close. Lewis climbed high from P11 up, and George did really well. I thought he was going to be out at that one point when him and Max came really close together. I was like, oh no. Obviously, it's never Max who goes out. Sorry to anyone who's a Max fan. That's not me. It is
He's
just
still
not.
Awesome. He's amazing. That just the skills they have it blows my mind.
I'll tell you this. I tried to watch the race. It was at 1 a.m. here. I kept falling asleep, waking up, and I woke up when that pass was made on the last lap, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, we had a last lap pass for the win. That's amazing. I fall back asleep. I forget. I check the highlights later. I'm like, oh, that was for second place. Max still won by a lot.
Oh, a lot. Like
Yeah.
it's a lot of the races do get a little bit boring, to be honest. And this is coming from a super fan. When he gets seconds and seconds and seconds ahead, like P2 is so far behind that you're just like, what's the point? There's plenty of races that I've kind of gotten on with cleaning the house, or just if Tallulah's awake, playing with her, and just being like, oh, it's not really that exciting to watch it because he's so far ahead, it doesn't matter anymore. So
that's true.
Well, I like that you're a motorsports fan because I've always been one, more on the NASCAR and the Dale Earnhardt side. And Danielle Ricciardo is a huge Earnhardt fan, so I think that's super cool.
There you go.
I want to get to the show notes in the program, though, and one other thing about how we've connected before. You probably get hit up by a lot of people, Bex, and it's been a while since I've done this, but I love to embarrass Erica. And we'll be at a Halloween party, or we'll be at like Friendsgiving, or maybe we just went on a hot, sweaty run and we're like drenched in sweat and we don't look good at all. I'll take my phone and I'll record a video and I'll just be like, hey, Bex, what's up? And just surprise her out of nowhere and then send it your way. And she's like, oh my God, hi, Bex. I don't know if you recall any of that, but that's just like some of my favorite things to do. And you always respond, which is the coolest thing in the world.
Oh, no. Well, I try to. I really do. There is the Instagram side of life is a lot, but I appreciate it when people go to the effort. Like, that's cute. And it's like, I think it's fun, and you're out doing what I love to do. So it's familiarity of like, I do that as well. I send people messages when I'm running, especially like if I bump into somebody from, abroad or another city who I know. So no, I'm with you. I like it when it feels natural.
She's
he
like,
does it all the time, though. I'm like, dude, stop. I get all blushy and like, stop it. But it is fun, and we appreciate it. We think it's really cool. So we get a little fangirly, fanboy a little bit, and it's nice.
Well, let's get to know you. Erica knows probably everything. I don't. So
well,
this
I
is
know
going to
what
be
she likes to share in class, but I want to hear it from her. So let's let's let her talk.
So let's start. Let's get to know you. We know you're from the UK. You are our first international guest on the pod. Almost 100 episodes in. First international guest. Let's hear about what life was like for Bex growing up in the UK. What did you do? School, sports, extracurricular activities? You'll learn I cannot pronounce anything correctly like that. But what was life growing up for you, Bex?
Well, I grew up in Worcestershire, England, which, is where the source is from. It is said Worcestershire, not Worcester. And it was a sleepy little city. I still, like, as I was growing up, I was like, this isn't a city, this is a town, right? My mom was like, nope, it's a city, it has a cathedral. And it was, so growing up in the US and the UK is very, very different. Like, you guys here are obsessed with sports. Like,
that is true. We can attest to that.
Unless my friends are book nerds or doctors, all I ever hear from people was like, I was a D1, I was track, I was basketball. I'm like, okay, cool, but what did you actually study? Like, what did you actually go to school for? And now I've said that, I actually don't think I know but what the vast majority of my friends actually studied for. I know what they all played, what sports they played, what they ran, which is crazy because everyone in the UK is the polar opposite. It's like, oh, I did a bachelor's in this, that, the other, and sports at university is wildly uncommon unless you go to a sports specific, like a Loughborough, or you go to an Oxford or Cambridge, which is very like the Ivy League in the UK. But they have like the rowing and like they have more sports, but you focus on books or sports essentially. That's me putting it in like very simple terms.
Yeah, that's really interesting though. It makes a lot of sense now that you say it though, because half of the friends that I have, I'm like, oh yeah, you were football, like you just played football, and I couldn't even recall.
what they did, what they actually got their degree in. It was not football. No. Yeah, so that's kind of my first point of difference. But then having said that, so school for me is up until 18, and so high school, and I played all the sports, like all the sports. I was very much the all-rounder. I went to an all-girls school, which had an all-boys school next door. Take it as you will. It was naughty. There was a lot of jumping over the wall. But we didn't combine in anything other than like extracurricular activity. But it was very much a school where if you excelled in everything, you were rewarded. You became like we have houses in a lot of schools. So I was a house captain because I was like a linguistic person, and I did all the sports. I'm not going to say I was great at all the sports. Like I started as the goalkeeper in lacrosse. We play lacrosse without all of the padding that you guys wear. So
you really?
English people are tougher.
You are tougher.
Yep,
Holy cow. A goalie in lacrosse is brutal.
We had the padding in the goalie, but the goalie's the only one who wears padding. Okay. The rest of us, we have a gum shield, and that's it.
I'm shocked. That's just sounds super dangerous.
Yeah. So I played lacrosse, netball, tennis, rounders, which is our version of baseball, a little bit smaller, more condensed. I tried my hand at football, but I went to an all-girls school again. We didn't have that much like European football.
Soccer, yeah. Soccer. No, it's cool. I agree. It should be football.
Yeah, it should be football. And yeah, I was very much into all of it. Tennis was like my family thing. My mom and dad were really great racket sports players. They played squash, tennis, badminton, and all of that. So they kind of pushed me down that route. And running, shockingly, I was terrible at school, like terrible. I was on the cross country team, and that was about it. I was fine with cross country because I just we put in those teeny tiny little pair of pants and an Airtex shirt, and like you're just told to go get muddy. So I just run and run and run, and I was fine. When it came to anything fast, awful. Anything athletic, like hurdles, awful. I dropped the baton in relay. Yeah, not good. High jump I was good at because I was really tall for my age all the way through. But that was about it. Like gymnastics, awful, but I used to try so hard because I loved the leotards. I thought they looked really cute. So yeah, I only ever got one. My mum refused to buy me anymore because I just was never picked for the team. She's like, you don't need it. You're not good at
it. Did your school encourage you to do all the different sports, or were you just interested in them?
No, they encouraged us to do all of them, and then if you were good at certain ones, you were picked for the teams. They're very similar to like in the movies where you're like, "Where's my name?"
Yeah, A squad, B squad kind of thing.
Yes. So like netball, I was really good at, which is like your version of basketball, but we don't bounce it. Tennis, lacrosse, they were the main ones.
That's awesome.
I'm not hearing any ice hockey. Ice hockey's not big in the UK. It's not a thing. You got all your teeth, unlike me, so I think you're good. But.
No, definitely not. We had hockey, as we call normal hockey, field hockey, was played by a lot. It's a real like all girls school sport. But again, we didn't wear much protection. Unfortunately, there was quite a few injuries around my age. Mm-hmm. And it was actually taken off our school curriculum, so it was too dangerous for a while. And ice hockey, no, it's not a big thing in the UK. We're a wet country, not so much of a cold country. But my partner Austin was hockey. He was at Colorado and he played hockey. See, I don't think I even know.
No way! That's so cool. So he played college hockey. I referee college hockey on the side, so that's really cool.
Yeah. He loves it. He actually wants to become a coach to it because he just misses playing it so much.
My daughter just started playing a couple of weeks ago. We're just trying it. It's learn to play, and she's going to try. She dances. She's a skier. She's a cheerleader, and she's playing. She's trying it all, and I'm just happy that she's trying it all. And just trying to have fun. And if she doesn't like it, we'll do something else. Cheerleading's the big thing, though. It is number one in her life right now, for a little 7-year-old. So
yay! Well, tell her to look at Rebecca Kennedy. You'll see some cheerleading skills there.
No way!
Arcade's
all right,
got
cool.
She's got some awesome dance moves for sure.
He was a big cheerleader in Boston. Yeah.
I want to
Wait,
ask you this.
wasn't she a Patriots cheerleader? I feel like she was. Did you know that, Eric?
No, but I know two other Patriot cheerleaders. Now I'm wondering if they know her. I'm wondering if
Maybe.
they're friends with her. So I
Yeah.
work with a couple moms whose daughters are Patriots cheerleaders, or were, because you only can do it for 3 or 4 years. So
Yeah.
that would be funny. Small world, small
So
world.
funny.
Very
Hey,
cool.
I remember watching. I like triathlons, and you're from the UK. A guy I really like is Tim Don, and he talked about. You mentioned how the UK is a very wet country. He mentioned the English clouds, and how like he goes this day. It's in a video. He's like, this is what we call an English cloud day or something. Is that a thing? Do I have that right? Where it's always kind of overcast over there?
Always. Yeah, it's always great. Always grey, always cloudy, always overcast, which is why you'll see when it's blue sky days, anyone in England will be on social media, and it makes it look like it's like that a lot. But I think they just all their content for those days.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, especially where I'm from, Worcestershire is in the middle of a bowl, essentially, of hills. So you've got the Malvern Hills on one side and the Cotswolds on the other side. So you kind of get trapped in greyness because it just stuck.
That's cool. I've never been. Erica's been. You've been a couple of times. So
I've only been once. I was there 2021. I went out for the marathon that they had in October of that year, since COVID had messed with things. So I was out there, spent a beautiful 10 days. I think 9 of them were overcast, but we did have some nice weather. I was pleased with it. It was so beautiful over there. Loved it.
Didn't Brandon freak out a little bit when he ran into an F1 driver too?
Oh my God. We were just walking around one day, and what did we see? I think it was like the James Bond premiere that they were having. Like, we were at one of the museums, and he saw George Russell. He's like, oh my God. And I was like, where? Who? And I had no idea who he was at that time, but he was like, look, he's right there. And I was like, oh, that's wicked cool.
I remember that because I think Ben and Leanne went to that too. Maybe some of the other instructors, but I vividly remember Ben and Leanne going to that.
It was super cool. I wish I would have had a sighting on them, because I would have recognized them at the very least. But yeah, it was cool. We're like, what are all these fancy people? Him and I are in like rain gear with umbrellas and boots, and and everybody's dressed in these like beautiful gowns and suits, and it was really fun to just stumble upon that.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I miss London.
Sorry to bring back some.
I'm going in 3 days. I'm literally there.
Oh my gosh, excellent.
So you tried all the sports in school. You were not a good runner. You go to university. You didn't run or do sports in university. I think I read you just had a good time, just like Erica and I did. That's how we met. But then you found running again, and you found it really early at 4 a.m., I think.
I found running in a strange way. It was 4 a.m. on a run in Berlin. I ran a lot before that. I actually kind of rediscovered my passion for running. I was in a job and a relationship, both of which were incredibly toxic, when I lived in Brighton, England. And I ran just to kind of get out of my own head, like no watch. This was way before social, or at least before I was on social media. And I would just run along the seafront and escape the like of work and my boyfriend at the time. And I loved it because it was really genuinely freeing. Like, I'd pick the light posts, or I'd pick a bin, or I'd pick a beach and just be like, I'm going to run to there. I'm going to run to there. I had no idea. I'd have to get home, get on my computer and like go on Map My Run to see how far I'd run, and just like, oh, wow, I ran like 3K today. That's so cool. And like just built it up. And I signed up for like a 5K race down there, and then a half marathon, and just kind of I had no goals right then. I was just running. But I really enjoyed running, and that stays with me today. Whenever anyone tells me about like their races they're doing and this and that and the other, I mean, but are you enjoying it? Because if you're not enjoying it, then you need to reset and just take a step back off the competing side of it. But then the 4 a.m. run was when I was a Nike Run Club coach, and the global team, we were in Berlin, and we got out for a run. And little did I know it back then, but Blue would become a very good friend and my coach. And I had no idea we were crushing some fast paces. And I knew they were really fast runners. Like 2:26 marathoners.
Oh, wow. Yep.
And we were just running really fast. It was really, really cold and really early in the morning. And he said when we got back to the hotel, like, do you have any idea? Like, you were just conversing that whole time at these crazy paces. And he sat me down and we went through my marathon times. I'd run Rome and London at that point. And quite a lot of ultras at that point I'd done, but I took them steady. Yeah. And he was like, I think you can do more. I think you can do better if you want to. Let me help you. And so he did. And then that was it. Just the trajectory changed with some focused training. And I still love it, which is the best thing.
That is super important. That's how my training this year has gone. Like, I was training for some more ultra distances, and I kind of threw speed out the window, and I was just enjoying being out for runs. I actually got outside. I often had you in my ears doing the outdoor Peloton runs, and it was just nice to kind of be one with nature and just not have to stress out so much about how fast I'm going. It's just kind of like just being out there and doing it and having fun.
Yeah. Absolutely. Congrats on your race, by the way.
Thank you. That was by far the hardest thing I've ever done, but it's like my crowning accomplishment at this point.
Yeah.
So.
Got the buckle. She did it.
Got the buckle. Barely, but I got it. So
it's very, very difficult what you did. So you should wear that pride every day.
I just need to get some more belts. Maybe I should actually wear it around. That would mean I have to wear actual pants more often instead of leggings.
Right.
So.
Well, pants and tights don't have buckle loops.
No, they don't. So, Bex, what were you doing when you were out in London before you transferred into the running industry?
Right. So I was working in PR, public relations.
Okay.
I started off in marketing at the Financial Times newspaper, and then I moved to Jo Malone fragrance company to do PR for them. And then when I left London, I moved down to live in Hove, which is just outside of Brighton, England. I joined a small PR firm and worked my way up to become the manager of that firm. And we had some really great brands like OPI nail varnish. We had Lalique crystal, Baccarat crystal. So it was luxury, high-end lifestyle public relations that we did. And it was fun. It was so much fun. I made some great friends within the media in the UK. I got to travel a lot to Paris, which is every girl's dream. And I got to work in lifestyle stuff and constantly had my nails done, which is something I still do on a very regular basis, something I can't let go of. And it was really formative in who I am, in relationship building, in relationship maintaining, juggling a career and fitness. But simultaneously, kind of that job was very high pressured, and I wasn't sure I wanted to do it forever, alongside being in a very toxic personal relationship. So I was sort of kind of going downhill on one side whilst trying to go up on the other. And if most of us have been there once, if not a few times in our lives, where you feel like you're pushing a truck of logs up a hill. You're like, I really want to get up here, but God damn it, how do I do this and be happy? And I unfortunately got an eating disorder around this time because I just was desperately, desperately unhappy with everything, and that was the one point of control I could have. And I went to Naples, Florida to stay with my aunt and uncle over Christmas to sort of get away from everything and hope the sunshine would help. And it did a lot. But I was running and running and running, and this is the only time in my life running was detrimental for me because I was really at that point using it as an excuse. I ran, I think, 20 miles one day, and I didn't take water, I didn't take fuel. It was almost like it was my punishment in a sad way. And my uncle sat me down, and even though I was doing that, I still talked about it with so much joy, and I'd come back and tell him all about my runs. He was like, you need to channel this love you have for running into something healthy and something positive, and then you can share that with other people. And I just couldn't get that out of my head of what he said. And I went home and I literally quit my job. I broke up with a boyfriend and I moved to London, and I enrolled in a essentially a personal training and business school.
Mhm.
And I got my personal training degree and a business qualification, and that was it. Then the world was there for me to grab, the bull by the horns. And
Yeah.
I fought to not be, and no disrespect to anyone who's ever done this, but I didn't want to be that newly qualified personal trainer at the local gym wiping out people's sweat. I was like,
Oh,
I'm nearly
yeah.
30 years old. If that happens, that happens. But I wanted to try and kind of go above that first. I'm very headstrong. I'm an Aries, so I'm really like, this is what I want. I'm going to do my darndest to get it. And if I
Yeah.
don't, it's okay, but I can't settle without trying.
You got to reach for it first. That's, yeah,
Gotta reach for
absolutely.
it. And I did. I got a really good job at the Bulgari Hotel, which is in Knightsbridge, like right opposite Harrods. And it was in a really, really famous gym owned by, at the time, a very famous nutritionist and personal trainer. And I still had to intern. I still had to wipe sweat off the machines and not get paid and show up.
Gotta
But
pay your dues, right? Yeah.
You show up at, before the sun's up, and you go home well after the sun's down, and you don't see daylight, and you're catering to the very, very, very rich. But I loved every second of it. I would not change it for the world. It taught me a lot. And from there, I met great people, and I got my Nike deal and worked as a Nike trainer through that. Then I started my own personal training business and had some fantastic clients, a very, very small handful of them, but I consider them family, and they did me. They took me with them traveling all over the world to some places that
No
I would
way.
never have gotten to go with their families. Yeah, it was unreal. I'd be traveling like every season with them. And it was just awesome because I trained the parents, but then a couple of them had kids, so I'd kind of just play like football with the kids on the beach and occupy them or tire them out before they
That's so
went
cool.
to their nannies. Yeah. So it was epic. I was really sad to leave that side of things because I felt like I was leaving my family when I left London. Well, I was leaving my family, but my work family when I left London. But RK kind of hooked me over from London over here because we worked together. Yeah. So, all thanks to her.
So how
That's
did you know her beforehand?
We were both Nike trainers.
Oh, so
Yeah.
Rebecca was working. Did she already have her Peloton job and was like, come over?
Yeah, she was part of the founding team with Robin on Tread. So Robin kind of came over, and they were putting together a team. So she'd already got Matty and Andy, I believe. I think
it's good to know her.
Andy. They'd already got them. I was either the third or fourth person on Tread to get my contract.
Okay.
Got the job offer, but because I was in the UK and visas, etc., I was the seventh, eighth person to actually join. So in between, Olivia, Matty, Chase, Sel, Oliver had all joined, and then I was the next one on the roster.
That's exciting. Were you ready for that change to come all the way across the pond and start living in a new place?
Not at all, but I really welcomed it. It was a massive change. I kind of describe London and New York as cats and lions. They're both from the same family, but one is very fierce and one is domesticated, for the most part, tamed. And London is definitely the house cat.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Let's save the Peloton talk for a little bit. Is that okay?
Okay.
Let's get into something I know you love, ultra marathons, and that is like Erica's new jam, and you were even just talking about it in your story. So let's get into, how did you discover trail running and ultra marathons, for that matter? And what was like your first introduction in your first race?
Oh, wow. So I was, again, part of the Nike Run Club in London. I was one of the founding coaches of NRC in London. And within that, we had lots of little running groups. And part of that group, there was a group of girls, and we kind of all really loved this longer duration of running. You know, we'd get the Camelback backpacks on and run along the canals for miles. And a few of those girls had done 1 or 2 ultras. They were like, "Oh, you should come and like give it a go. It's fun. You basically get to run and eat." I was like, "That sounds phenomenal."
Isn't that a huge selling point? That was kind of what
Yeah.
got me into it. I was like, snacks, okay.
Snacks, you get to drink like flat Coke.
So good. So good.
Yeah. And you have to train your ass off, but it's not like speed is not of the importance unless that's
Mhm.
your desire. But for
Yes.
I'd say more than road races, is completion is the aim of the game here. So I signed up for, actually it was a women's only race, and it was a 50K near Stonehenge in the UK. And we
How
did a
cool.
50K run, and I loved it, like absolutely loved it. And from there on, our like group of females, we would trail run, we'd pick races, and we traveled a lot together. We did, a lot of races. We did Italy, we did the Cinque Terre ultra marathon, we did Transvolcania in La Palma in the Canary Islands. They're probably the 2 of the most notable and biggest ones. And then during that time was when I met Blue, and he was like, "Oh, you're kind of fast," and that's when he kind of hooked me into Speed Project. And I've kind of become a Speed Project veteran and Speed Project OG. Really, people still message me like, "Any tips? How can I get in? Can you speak to Niels? What should I do?" Like, geez, I haven't run it in like 3 years.
Yeah, we're big fans of the relay type races around here. We have one called Reach the Beach, and it's you can have 12 people or 6 people run 200 miles. So it basically goes from the White Mountains of New Hampshire to our tiny tiny coastline. It's Hampton Beach. So we have those like 200-mile relays, but the Speed Project, what is it, 340 between 6 of you?
340, 6 is the minimum. The OG is 4 guys, 2 girls.
Mhm.
You can split it any which way, and you can increase that up from 6. There's also TSP Solo now, where you just go by yourself with your crew, which a few
Ooh.
people have done. And then as we
That's
speak,
nuts.
there's the brand new Speed Project Atacama Desert in Chile that just took off yesterday. The solo runners just took off in Chile to do that race for the first time this year.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine taking on that distance alone just yet. Like, what's your time limit for that kind of thing to do it by yourself?
For Speed Project, I think they have 5 days.
Okay. Well, that's even still.
Yeah, when the teams finish, so that's why the solos start a good couple of days before. So the Atacama one, they started yesterday, which is Tuesday, and I believe the team races start on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. They start early.
Yeah, they got to get it done.
Yeah, they got to get it done. I think we kind of skipped over something. I like to celebrate accomplishment, or just like how awesome you did or something, for anybody. For Erica too, I like to pump her tires. That first ultra, didn't you podium finish?
Oh God, did I? I don't remember. Maybe.
I think you did. I think you did. The other thing was, it seemed like you loved trail running, and you would actually travel quite far. I don't know how far is in your mind that's far or not, but you would travel quite far, almost maybe to an island or something, to get in some good trail running.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Transvolcania in La Palma is part of the Canary Islands, where I have a house. And so I would often, just whenever I go to the Canary Islands, I will pop around and run as much as I can over all the mountains there. It's actually where Fuerteventura, where I have my house, is an island that a lot of people use to train for Marathon des Sales, because it is on the exact equator, and in the middle of the island really resembles the terrain that you would have in the in MDS. So we get a lot of people trying to cross the island. It's a lot smaller than MDS, but it's really good practice as well. But no, I love it. Honestly, like I can just run. It's when I'm just allowed to just plod along if I want to, do some speed work if I want to. Speed Project's very different. It is an ultra, but it's just vicious and fast. For the record, like my team did multiple times. So that's definitely an anomaly, I would say. But there's still ultras on my bucket list to do.
Any cool speed project stories you have of you and your team? Like that sometimes it's the most fun part. You're with your crew and usually they don't even happen when you're running. It's when you're in the van moving from point A to B.
Yeah, there's a lot. First time I've ever hallucinated. I was about to say whilst not on drugs. It's like, Denise, sorry. First time I've ever hallucinated from exertion, like exhaustion, was night. I think it was night one. But by night, I mean like it was early in the morning. And I'd just gotten back into the RV after an 8-mile sand run by myself, because at this point, that was back on Speed Project number 1. Well, it was actually Speed Project official number 2 ever. So that was 16 maybe. And it it's just, there's literally, Niels is like, when you see that bush, turn left. You're like, it's the middle of the night in the desert. There's about 50 cacti bushes. Which one? And you're like, oh God. And you're just running out into the middle of the desert and it's pitch black. You're like, oh, please let me keep running and see the flashing lights of my RV like from the road. So as long as I remember having to keep the road to my left and I'd see a cut through at some point. So I just kept running along the sand, 8 miles of this sand run, thinking that I was going to be found tomorrow in a body bag somewhere.
No.
I'm already like, you already know the cogs are starting to turn slightly wonky in your brain when those thoughts come into your head. Anyway, I somehow finished it, got into the RV, and I sat down at the front of the RV. I have a picture somewhere. And I had my feet horribly up onto the table opposite me. And then I started to just sink sideways. And then I sat bolt upright, and I was like, someone release the anchor, the boat's spinning. No idea. I was on a boat. In my mind, I was on a boat and it was spinning.
That's awesome.
But I kept saying it, like I'd drift back off and then be like, somebody put the anchor in. And like be really angry about it. Yeah. And so it was a really like wild experience, just being like, oh wow, I am so tired. I have no idea where I am, what I'm saying, what I'm feeling. And then, within an hour or two, they're like, hey, get back out there, off you go.
Oh, super fun. So a lot of it was in the desert. I mean, it's you're running from California to Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Did you like come across any weird, like creepy crawly, like
honestly
things?
No,
that would be my concern.
We ran through this wild town, and if anyone is from there, high five and let me know. It's called Barstow, out in the desert, somewhere between California and Las Vegas. Sorry, Santa Monica and Las Vegas. I think it's in Nevada, but maybe Eric will look and he'll tell me where exactly it is.
It's Nevada. You knew what I was doing. I love it.
Yeah. And it was like people were sitting on their porches with shotguns as we're running past, and
That's
saw
more
a
terrifying
massive scorpion on the floor in front of me, and I literally jumped, like just carried on running. I was like, I gotta jump, and then my mind, I'm like, does this thing jump? I'm from England, I don't know, like, is it gonna get me if I jump? So that was the only thing that I saw on the Speed Project of creepy crawlies. I know a lot of people saw snakes, spiders, and the such, but no, luckily I didn't see anything.
That just gives me the heebie-jeebies. I think I would have flipped out if I saw a scorpion or something like that. We don't have those kind of things up in New Hampshire. Not even New York. I hope doesn't have that kind of stuff.
No,
yeah.
Not at all. Not to mention just creepy people sitting there with their shotguns.
Like... I cannot believe that. I think that's like top tier creepy right there.
Yeah, that scared me as a I was still living in the UK at the time, so I was really like, what are they doing? Are they gonna shoot us? Like,
that's really not a common occurrence for most places, so I don't know how I would have handled it.
Land protection with these crazy runners coming through.
As long as they're not shooting me, we're good.
Yeah.
What are some of the other bucket list races you have? You mentioned you still have a lot of ultras you want to try.
Yes. I really want to do the 7 continents in 7 days.
Oh my God. We were just talking about this. That is probably the most insane thing. You're going to hallucinate on that one because you're going to get very little sleep. But
very little
goodness.
sleep.
Are we talking ultras or are we talking the marathon 7 days, 7 continents?
Yeah, it's the World Marathon Series. So 7 marathons, 7 days. So it's it's like an ultra marathon over a week essentially. But and an ultra marathon of travel. So that is on my bucket list to do. It's incredibly expensive, so it's something that you have to save up for a good few years for. So it's normally in February. So my goal is maybe 2025 to do it around. So I want to do it before I'm 40, which is 2026. So I've got a couple of years to get that done. I really do want.
Erica will be your Sherpa.
Yay!
I would 100% do that. I would love to.
Anyway, that the airplane is not spinning and I'm not on a boat.
I'll anchor you down. Don't worry, Bex.
Needed. I want to. This isn't an ultra, but I do want to do the Great Wall of China marathon one day as well.
That'd be cool.
I just think that one would be amazing to do. And yeah, I kind of like often look at the likes of Western states and look at it like. Not saying I'd ever do it, but like the wildness of the Barkley marathons and things like that. The crazy ones out there. I just want to travel again and see the world and be able to adventure the world in that way, because I really did find it very stimulating for my own brain, going to these places, the people that you meet and the people you get to run with, and because you are all running at these more comfortable paces, you just get to chat to so many people, and the stories that you hear are just sometimes enlightening, sometimes very sad, but so inspiring either way that I miss doing that.
I feel like this might be a good opportunity to bring up the World Marathon majors, because I've heard from some of your classes that you are going to be headed to Tokyo soon. So this is going to drop in 2024. So that's only a few short months away.
Happy New Year, by the way.
I know, right? So, is this going to be your 6th major?
It is.
That is super exciting.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. I actually just completed my registration today, funnily enough. A little late to the story. But so we're all signed, sealed, flights booked, hotel booked. Austin and I, we're both running it, but it will be my 6th star. So I'm really, really stoked to get that big medal and get my 6 done in Tokyo. Apparently it's the most popular. There's an average of like 300 to 500 6-star finishers at most of the Abbott World Marathon majors, and then you jump to Tokyo and there's thousands. Like there's something like 3,500 at the moment. So because you have to save up, it's generally the vast majority of the Abbott World Marathon majors audience are on the other side of the world. So we have to save our pennies to go and run these races over there, which is why it ends up being most people's final one. Really,
I have to toot my own horn here for a second, but 2023, I just completed them in Tokyo, and because of all the COVID stuff, it had been canceled. So at least at this point, I don't know if 2024 is going to break the record, but we have like the Guinness World Record for most number of 6-star finishers at Tokyo, just because everybody was like just trying to get in for that year, and it just kept getting pushed. So, and I did a Peloton leaderboard name change because of it. I am now 6-star Erica because I totally earned it, and I'm owning it. So.
Yes, you did. Yeah, I can't wait. I have to chat to you about the course. I hear it's a bit lit.
I am happy to talk about it.
She'll be your tour guide. I mean, she's been to Tokyo. She'll go out there. I'm just going to keep saying Erica will do this.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a quick trip because we're not taking Tallulah with us. So we decided not to. It was just.
It'd be a big flight.
It's a big flight. When she got RSV, we just panicked about her getting so sick and just thought, what on earth would we do if we schlepped her all the way to Tokyo? It's different when it's a vacation, as opposed to you're pulling her all the way out there for mom and dad to run a race and do something that they really want to do. Like, this is different. So bless my mom's coming over here to look after her from England whilst we
That's
go.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have an
Moms are
incredible
great.
couple of days there, and hopefully everything goes well with Tallulah and your mom.
I'll have a ball.
You'll be in good hands. Moms are
Mhm.
great. My mom comes in clutch many times for me when I have things and we work, my wife and I, separate schedules, nights and weekends and all that. So thank God for moms. They're amazing.
Yeah, they are.
I
Do you
also
want?
love that one of the things that you switched for your Peloton sign off. You say, "I'm Tallulah's mom." Like I just love that because she's such an important part of your life now, and
Yeah,
she's just a wonderful little thing.
she is. And I think it's a gentle reminder that, we're Peloton instructors, but we are also people. So if
Yeah.
potentially today wasn't the best class I've ever delivered, maybe just a little reminder that I may have been up all night with my baby, just like some of you at home.
Mhm.
And, I'm still here. I'm doing my job, just like some of you at home are probably about to go and do your jobs. And ours is just a little bit more visible. So yeah, just a reminder that we are real people.
Oh yeah, I was there last night. I slept on the floor.
Oh,
Oh,
those
did
I
you?
was there. Yeah, I slept on the floor, and Tommy and Tyler were curled up right against me. They were just at 2 a.m. banging on the door. I'm like, what is going
Oh,
on? And I have twin boys. They're 2 years old. And so
oh,
I slept on the floor with them on the floor. I'm like, can we sleep in our beds? Nope.
these
So,
cozy things.
yep. And so a little stiff neck, but
Yeah.
I'll roll. I'll figure it out. You
Yep.
brought up Peloton and Peloton life, and we love
I can't
Peloton.
help it, man.
We've been members for years. I started like the best thing that ever happened to get me hooked was actually work. They bought a Peloton bike, and I was like, okay, let's try this. And so I got hooked. And like I said, I'm a Matt Wilpers guy. And then Erica got into it. She got the tread. She found you. And then all of a sudden, I can do it on the phone, and I can do running on any treadmill with you or Matt or anyone in the whole Peloton family. You mentioned Rebecca pulled you over and you came from
Yeah.
London or England, the UK, I don't know what to call it, but you came to the States. How was that move to Peloton?
I mean, it was fantastic. It was a whirlwind of difference from what I was doing before. The basis of it's the same, running coach. But then all of a sudden I was cast in a cast. I was, it's sort of not sort of, it is a massive production and has only
Mhm.
grown exponentially over the past 6 years. And it was just a really great learning curve. I absolutely have never shied away of being on a stage as much as I could. I wanted to be, foreign affairs correspondent. I wanted to be a news reporter. I wanted to be an actress, anything like that when I was younger. So even when we did the Nike runs, I always had to be the person who was with the microphone at the start of the runs, getting everyone together. And so it was elevating that side of what I'd already done in my running career. And I don't know, just doing it on this level. And as our community grew, I think that was really, really special to just meet members in the studio and then see them stay with us. And to this day, I still see people who come to PSNY who are like, oh, I ran with you back in 2018, 2019. And you're like, wow, that's wild that you've been running with us for that long. And I kind of have known you through the leaderboard or through social media for that long. And it just, it never fails to warm my heart. And I'm very much a running coach first, entertainer second. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody with how I coach and how I deliver my classes. But I do enjoy the entertainer side of it. I'm a doofus. I'm not funny, but find myself funny.
You are
And
funny. You
You're
are.
very relatable, Bex, and that's one of
Yes.
the reasons I love you so much is that
And you,
like we can just relate to everything you say. So it's awesome. And you have a loyal group of I guess Bex Beasts OGs. Like
yes.
they were with you from the very beginning. I'm kind of sad I didn't jump on the bandwagon until 2020 was when I first got into it. But yeah, everybody just loves your style and it's great.
Thank you. No, I try to keep it real. You know, life isn't all unicorns and rainbows. There's definitely those gray clouds as well. So yeah, I'm just here to be as real as I can.
Good. That's kind of what our podcast is about. We want to show like the ups, downs, and code browns of the running world. So.
Oh yeah.
So what year did you come to the U.S.?
2018.
Okay, so you were actually here longer than I thought before COVID, because I was thinking it was even less than a year. COVID happened. How was life in New York City? I kind of know a little because my sister lives in New York City.
Yeah.
But how was that with COVID, being from the UK, away from your family, trying to figure out work? I think you were working out in your living room doing your Peloton classes. How was that whole year or so of life for all of us?
Yeah.
But mostly you.
It was a testament to the company of how we kind of pivoted and were able to to begin with. We went to live from home, which was just unreal. I mean, the world shut down, and I think we all thought like, oh, okay, what are we gonna do? Like, how is this gonna work? Everything's in the studio. We would I think Denise can probably tell us the exact date. I feel like it was almost to the date when we were going to open PSNY, was when COVID hit. Like, it was ready to go. And we'd been working on it since before I joined. I believe we had the plans of moving there. So before 2018. So obviously that hits, and we were it was just wow when the team were like, okay, so we're going to deliver a tread to your house. I was like, okay, my Brooklyn apartment. Okay. I had a spare room. So I was like, this is fine. I can turn this into the gym. It was a dream come true, to be quite honest, to have a tread at home too. So selfishly, I was like, I'll do it. And so, yeah, Austin was my PA, camera guy, sound check, help on everything. We had this set up delivered to our house, like people in hazmat suits, more or less, like zero contact. And it was unreal. And the team, everyone was remote. So like all of our production team were all in their own apartments, but they were helping us set up these cameras and these studio level cameras. I mean, you guys have seen the content still there to be seen. It was shot. It wasn't just like me grabbing my iPhone being like, all right, work along with me. This is highly produced content. And yeah, I think we just we got into a schedule pretty quickly, and we got into call time. You know, it was so weird having a call time in my own house. I'm like, okay, this is your call time, like hair and makeup done. And it had to be a bit longer because of all of the possible errors that could go wrong with internet and everything. And we did the best we could to keep the community moving and keep everybody, you know, with that positivity that Peloton has brought since day one into people's lives. So I feel really lucky to have been one of the instructors who A, was able to do it, and B, was still able to connect on a normal level with our members out there. And then the city of New York and our Peloton team worked tirelessly to get us those permits that allowed us to be deemed essential workers in the end, so we could get into the studio. And again, it was like hazmat suit operation in the studio. It was like walking. I never, thank goodness, walked into a hospital in COVID, but from what I see, it kind of felt like that. Like everything was so sterile. There was only ever one person in the studios, and it was just, we had like hospital grade cleaners. It was unreal. It was so well put together. And as much as it helped everyone at home, I think people forget, like, again, that Peloton instructors are normal people. It helped us so much. It helped me. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but maintain some familiarity and normality in our lives in that time that was just in flux. Everything was just in this weird state of, what is this? What's going on? Is it ever going to end? And just knowing that we could continue our jobs was a revelation, because at the start it was like, well, how on earth are we going to continue our jobs? And then it happened. So that was strange to kind of, we were in like certain days, you just had like 2 or 3 days where you'd go in and record some content and then go back to our little bubbles out of the city or wherever we were. So yeah, I look back on that with such appreciation for all of our teams, like not just everyone who got it working, but like our maintenance teams and the teams who carried on running the studio to get us all in and out safely was just a real wow.
I appreciate all the creativity you guys put in, because it really did keep the members engaged, and it kind of just kept us going too. Like, I know it was a huge motivator for you guys, but us at home, we were in the same situations. Like, we didn't know what to do. We couldn't go to our gyms. We didn't feel safe going outside. So we had a nice outlet through Peloton. And I mean, that's pretty much what kicked off my real running journey. Like, I really got into it in 2020. So I give a lot of credit to you and the other Peloton trainers for like keeping the engagement. It was super helpful.
Yeah, it was like, oh God, I just like thinking now, talking about it, I'm like, God, do you remember when people were like, you shouldn't run outside, like you can't run outside, it's gonna this
6 feet apart
touch you. Like I felt like it was like a horror movie. There was this like green germ air that just comes up of like, wow. And we didn't like, well, we would run with those like bandanas over our faces and like all sorts. It was, wow, what a time.
What a time.
I can't believe it's been already like 3 at this point. So calling it 2024, like it just seems so long ago. It's hard to believe that it really happened.
Yes, I agree.
I'll tell you, I made many hospital visits during COVID, not because any of us were sick, just because of babies. We had a lot of pre-birth surgeries and all this other stuff, and then NICU for the longest time. The cleanest places in the world. I mean, you're talking about the hazmat suits at Peloton. I mean, this hospital, many hospitals were just like top notch, like on it at the time, and they were awesome. So it was a time, and that is about the same time I found you when Erica pushed me to Bex and on the phone, and I think they were the at-home studio runs. So, yeah, what a time.
So Peloton Studios just seems like such a blast between you and all the trainers. You guys are so open with your social media while you're there. And I mean, I've seen so many videos of mostly like Maddie just playing pranks on Jess Sims. What other kind of fun stuff happens behind the scenes at Peloton?
Oh gosh, I mean, you see it. We are all genuinely very good friends. There's 57. I always get this number wrong. Denise's probably got her head in her hands now. But there's a lot of us. So I mean, obviously we're not all going to be the closest of friends, but I'm not lying or exaggerating when I say we all get along famously. Like,
that's excellent.
We all love each other very much. And yeah, I mean, there's Maddie and Jess, the Halloween spectacular.
I crack up every time I see that stuff. I lose it. It's so good.
It's hilarious. There's Matt Wilpers, who is just always coming out with the weirdest stuff in the morning, or just being Matt, of just being oblivious to things.
He's the best.
Like, what?
I love him. I love all you, but yeah.
Cute as a button. Can I say that? He's just like adorable. I mean, I love his Peloton, like his Power Zone classes. He's like the only one I could really like sit and focus on. But like he's just want to like pinch his cheeks. I'm sorry, that's just weird.
No, he's amazing. He's such a wealth of knowledge as well. So yeah, we spend a lot of time like chatting the nerdy stuff up together. And then then you've got like the whirlwind instructors who come in with a ton of energy at 4 a.m. in the morning. You're like, just chill out. Or you've got like the Dennises who saunter in, cool as a cucumber. Like, I'm ready, just ready for anything. So it's so much fun, and we all have our different pre-show routines, whether it's like Logan like foam rolls every part of his body, Adrian doing his push-ups, and Rad doing his push-ups, making sure they're looking good on camera. There's like Alex Kowalski's probably come in from doing some sort of marathon row. It's awesome. Everyone has their own different things that they do. But it's great, and I think we all have a schedule, obviously, so we all know who we're with, predominantly, unless there's a sub or something special going on. So you kind of get into a routine with the people that you're in the studio with at the same time, and yeah, it's definitely, you look forward to it.
How about your girl Rebecca Kennedy? Did she ever get you to do a spell that muscle?
Oh God. Back in the day, we did it back in 2018. She'd do that just to test us, though.
That was fun. I went back and we found those. I'm like, that was a lot of fun.
I
Yeah.
forget who nailed them. Was it like, I think Ross and Dennis did like super well. Spelling's
Ross?
not my strong suit, especially when it comes to muscles and stuff, but they like
Ross
nailed
is
it.
incredible. Ross is I don't know whether you guys have taken his yoga for runners stuff, but he's really, really knowledgeable about yoga with running. He's helped me many a time in our green room where I've been like, this doesn't feel right, and he's just like had me on the floor, done something. He's like, oh yeah, that muscle was tight, or that fascia was disconnected. I'm connected something it shouldn't be. I'm like, wow, you are a genius.
I'm going to put it on my list. I'm trying to get more into like the yoga, trying to be more diligent about stretching. It's not my strong suit, but I know I've taken a few classes with Dennis, and he is amazing at that kind of stuff too. So I will add Ross to my list and just try to keep up with it. It's good for you.
Yeah, it is.
Bex, I think it was actually during COVID, you had like this camera crew follow you around and you qualified for the UK Olympic trials. And so that was a process. You have work, you have your Peloton runs, you got to do your own training. You have to then travel during COVID back to London, probably way ahead of time, get tested all these times. What was that like, trying to fit in your training, fit in your work, do the Olympic trials? How did that go?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. It was what, 3 years ago? I got the invite literally around Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
I was at Austin's mom's beach house, and I was reading my emails. I don't know, something. It was around Thanksgiving, and TMI, but I literally my divorce had just been finalized, like literally the day before. I was like, yes, I'm free. Finally, like literally everything was signed and it was over and it was done. So I think we'd like celebrated that. And then the next day, I thought I was getting pranked because I got this email from British Athletics inviting me to the trials. And I was like, God, what kind of cruel joke is this? Like, it just seemed too blasé. Like, of course you would. Like, and yeah, then I kind of like ran downstairs. Like, I think I've just been invited to compete in the Great Britain Olympic trials, and everyone was like reading the email, and I am obviously like within an hour I was like, yes, of course I want to do it. So, and then that's when I realized it was real. And I didn't tell work for a minute because I kind of wanted to get my head around it. I wanted to start training and see where I was at, because it was COVID. We hadn't run for a while of any competitions, let's say, or any races. So it had been a minute since I'd run a race. I mean, a year since New York Marathon. So I got back into the swing of things. I talked to a good friend, Stephen Kirsch, a good friend of Austin's, and he agreed to coach me for this race because as you said, Eric, I had my job, and like, it's just really difficult sometimes to be motivating when you're motivating other people. You're like, I've done my motivation for the day. Like, God, now I've got to motivate myself. So I took it on board to get a coach, and then I realized, okay, I'm going to have to travel. I'm going to have to talk to Peloton about this. I'm going to have to take some PTO, quite a bit. And obviously they were thrilled for me and incredibly supportive. And just Jen thought it was a great opportunity to document it and do something special that our members could enjoy. Obviously, COVID kind of made a bit of a difference to what we could do, because we had to social distance in filming, and there was a lot more regulations than normal. But it was kind of strange, really, having this team follow me and like pack with me, and they were literally there while I was packing and crying, saying goodbye to Maurice, and just all of that emotion was raw. It was true and real, and we captured what we could within the guidelines of what we were allowed to. And going to London was absurd. I mean, it was just, I don't know if you guys traveled in COVID, but international travel was nuts. Just the paperwork. I felt like when I was moving here, like that day, I felt like I had the exact same amount of paperwork to just prove my worth to get into the country. And the race itself was petrifying. I mean, we were really lucky. We stayed at one of Austin's co-workers. He actually lives in Italy, but he had a home in Notting Hill. So we were really lucky that we could stay in our own space. We didn't have to go to a hotel and deal with like a lot more rules and regulations. We really could stay incredibly safe and away from people for the most part of the trip. The life in London was so different to New York. New York was still very much locked down. There was, you had to show a lot of your cards. People in the street were wearing masks. Kind of feel like we got to London and people were like, I'm over this. Like, he seemed a lot more lax about it on the streets. So that was a bit of a shock to just suddenly be like, we're walking out with our masks on immediately. And obviously neither of us wanted to get anything because we had to be tested up until the night before the race, sorry. And yes, Eric, to your point, there was multiple tests that we had to keep
process.
Which always flummoxed me because I'm like, the fact that I have to travel to get here means I could contract it. If I just stay at home and do one test, like I'm just at home. Anyway, yes, I was fine and all clear. And what a great day. I mean, it was just, I look back on it and I'm like, who was that girl? How did she run that fast? How did she hold on for that long? Austin always says to me, he's not actually in here, but
we'll pretend. Hey, Austin.
He always, he's here in spirit. He says that around mile 8, because I saw him 13 times. I think it was 13 laps.
Oh, yeah, the loop course.
12 small laps. If you run with me, I hate track. So this was just a battle for me of monotony. Luckily, I love gardens. It was in the botanical gardens, in Kew Gardens. So I was like, ooh, trees, ooh, flowers, ooh, look at something else. All the way. But yeah, he said around mile 8. So I can't remember how many times he would have seen me at that point. And he just saw a look in my eyes and got really scared because it was a look. I just shook my head at him of like, I can't do this. And I honestly don't think I've ever felt that in a race. Definitely not in a marathon, where I've just had that thought of, this isn't going to happen. Like, I can't do it. And like mortifyingly embarrassed in that moment of I'm on TV, everyone at Peloton is following me, people have gotten up at 3 a.m. in the morning in the US to follow me, and it's me going like, I can't do it, it hurts, it really hurts. And something, I think, again, the weird Aries competitive side of me, I saw other people drop, I saw other women drop out, and I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. And them dropping out pushes me up higher, and I haven't really had to work to get higher there. They've just dropped out and enabled me to go further up in the standings. And then my incredible pacer. I mean, he really, really got into my head and pulled me out of the negativity and just was like, come on, we've got this. He'd never run a bloody marathon before. And there he is pacing me to the fastest one I've ever run. And it was unreal. And I think whenever I tell people the story for the first time about the finish and how Rosie literally just came past me at the finish line and got to 3rd place, neither of us would have qualified on time. We would have, if we would have been running under 2:29, we would have gone through. But at that point, the time was not fast enough. So just, she literally, I was 3rd for so long and she just had more in the tank. And that is what I just explained to everybody is that day I ran until absolute empty. I was the car that came over that finish line, and I just spluttered to a finish. Like, there was nothing, because trust me, if there was anything in my tank, I would have fought tooth and nail to battle with her to that finish. But there was nothing. I was like jelly, just cut, like, you hold it together as best you can as a human, but no, I wasn't going to fall on my teeth on the finish line of that race. And that's pretty much all I had left in me, was to just get over there and stand up. There was no more energy to try and beat this girl off my shoulder for the final 10 meters of that race. And I think when I explain that to people, and when I feel that in myself, I did give everything. And I am so proud of my time and my place, and the fact that I even got to be there, the fact that I got invited, was such a huge deal to me. So my 2:32:01, I won't take that 01 away, because I fought for it.
Beautiful, beautiful. That is just a prime definition, or a prime example of true grit and leaving it all out there. And it's just a good thing to show people, to just not give up if you can help it.
No, exactly. And it will be tough. It's no lying.
Absolutely.
Like, running's really tough. It's movement. You're moving your body at a faster plane of movement than it comfortably likes to be. So yeah, it's going to be tough, whatever your pace is. So just keep moving forward. That's why I say forward is a pace. Just keep moving forward for as long as you can.
And you definitely ran into your unknown too. Yeah. That's one of your other, I don't want to say catchphrase, but lessons that you like to teach us. And and it's true. It's awesome.
Yeah, I never knew my butt cheeks could hurt that much just from running.
Well, we're super proud of you. That was an amazing accomplishment, an amazing opportunity.
So
Peloton did great with that little YouTube series, or just little series they put together. That was awesome. I'm really glad you shared that story with us and everything you have. Quickly, we're trying something new for 2024 on occasion. We're going to do some rapid fire. Erica's found some rapid fire questions for you, mostly Peloton based. Erica, do you have your notes? Go when you're ready. All right, let's hear this. I can't wait for the Matt one.
He's the one who wrote that, so just don't judge me. All right, who at Peloton has the best style, in your opinion?
Oh goodness, yikes! That's a tough one. I think Olivia.
That is. Oh, she's super glittery. I love it. All right, who programs the hardest classes, and why is it Olivia? JK.
I think Matt Wilpers.
All right, who makes the best playlist?
Emma Lovewell.
Ooh. Do I have to say this
Massachusetts
question?
girl. Vineyard, I think. Nantucket or the Vineyard,
Vineyard,
Love it. All right, this is Eric's question, but he's still making me read it.
Want me to ask it?
Yes.
All right. What's sweatier, Matt Wilpers or Matt Wilpers bike mat?
Oh, Andy Spear. I think Matt Wilpers.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Bex, what's your favorite music to run to?
Ooh, I'd say EDM.
Very nice. I'm a big fan of your classical music classes, by the way, so that's a good one. All right, what is your favorite type of class to teach?
60-minute intervals.
I like those as well. All right, what is your favorite way to recover after a hard workout?
Oof. Oh gosh, like honestly, sitting in the boots, in my my Normatec boots.
Yes, we're big fans of those too.
Big way I like to recover, and like a glass of red wine. Good glass of red wine.
Good answer. Yeah. All right, what is hold on. What is a favorite costume either you or another instructor has worn on a Peloton run?
Oh, one of my scary clowns. I think my half and half scary clown Becs instructor was a pretty big hit, and I really enjoyed being that person. Oh, those two people.
I second that. And last one we've got, what is your favorite activity to do in New York City that isn't fitness related?
Going to Central Park for off-leash dog hours first thing in the morning.
Ah, love it. That's so good. All right.
That's awesome.
Before we, I know we're like running out of time, but I want to give a quick shout out to the Bex Beast crew, because they are pretty much what, like an awesome community. Like, we all just love you so much. And I know Jamie, I believe Cupcakes for PRs, is the one who moderates the group, and she just makes it so engaging and just an awesome. Oh, Sean, yes, that's right. She's Ludicrous Speed. Yes.
Yeah.
So just they're so wonderful for putting together these groups and just gathering together the community, and we're all just kind of together and lifting each other up, and we take all your classes, and it's just a lot of fun. So anybody out there, there's an Instagram page. It's at Bex Beast, and there's also a Facebook page. So look into it. We're awesome people. I have to put myself in there. I mean, I'm kind of more of a lurker as opposed to a poster, but there's just so many fun people in there, and it's just very knowledgeable and super, super fun. So
yeah, they're great, and I'm so grateful to them. They are advocates for everything I believe in, and I take a lot of what I believe in stems from how they act to people. They're also kind and generous. So yeah, I'm very, very lucky to have all the Bex Beasts, all the flamingos out there, all of us flocking together.
I have this little guy chilling out behind me today. Had to represent the flamingos and Bex Beast crew. So
Olivia bought this one for Tallulah. Yeah.
Well, that makes me even happier. So just chill in the background.
Oh, I love it.
Bex, you are awesome. Thank you so much doing this for me. You and I have been talking for a while. I really appreciate it. This is a big deal for me to get you on for Erica because she won't stop talking. So, and I hear all about it, and I love every bit of it. And thanks for being just how awesome you are and responding to all my little embarrassing video messages I make of me and Erica. So we have one final question. It's Erica's question. It is the hardest question for some people, and then for some, it's the easiest. So I'll let her lead into this, and then we'll send you off. You're amazing. It's all yours,
right,
Erica.
All right, final question. We have a Spotify playlist, and we like to invite our guests to add a song. It could be anything that you're feeling at the moment, something motivational, just anything that keeps you going and pumps you up. Would you like to add a song?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. Oh, there's so many. I'm like,
it is a tough question.
Pilots? Is it Pearl Jam? Is it the Beatles? Like, oh my God, there's so many. Is it Nina Simone? You know what? There's a really fantastic Nina Simone remix that I probably will add on there. It's like an EDM remix of I'm Feeling Good, and I love it.
That is amazing. That is a fantastic song as it is, but put a little EDM spin on it. I'm all aboard.
All right, Erica, I'll let you send her off here, and you can do that last little note you have in the notes.
Sure.
I'll let you send her off. Usually it's me. I'm letting her. So.
Oh, I love it.
All right, Bex, we've had such a wonderful time talking to you, and I cannot thank you enough for your time. This is just super fun for us. Myself, like I'm losing words again, but I just have to say, I'm going to kind of speak for most of the Peloton members at the very least, but I just want to say thank you for always taking time to shout out every single milestone in your classes. It is such like an exciting moment when you have a milestone to celebrate, and you take the time to shout out every single one of them. You go through the entire list, and you even put like personal spins on it. Like, it's just such a like exciting, special thing for us. So just thank you for always doing that. We really appreciate it. I am going to speak for everybody, but it is just so fun, and we look forward to it, and it is just a special thing. So thank you again for everything that you do.
Oh, thank you. Thank you both for having me. Thank you for getting me on, Eric, and making sure that I was replying. Erica, it's a pleasure to...
I hope I didn't bug you too much. I tried to keep it like 4 weeks in between.
We know you're busy. We know you're busy, so.
You really did make me feel like you understood that time just disappears, and I'm like, oh my God, I meant to reply to you. I'm so sorry. I'm not being annoying or rude, but I'm like, it's flagged, and then I forget, and then Tallulah like grabs my phone or something happens. So I'm really appreciative of you persisting in the nicest, calmest way that you did, because this has been a real pleasure. And Erica, to have you on the leaderboard and part of the Bex Beasts is so cool to spend this time with you now, and to have talked to you. And I know that your running is just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So I wish you luck with whatever is next. And we didn't even get to talk about that. So yeah, maybe some other
next time.
Yes.
Hopefully we're gonna make it into the studio. That's one of our goals for 2024. So we'd love to meet you in person and take some of your classes.
There's a
But
lot of goals. She
it'll
forgets
happen.
I have 3 kids. Like a lot of goals,
I
but
can
I
make
will
it
make
into
it.
the studio. Maybe
We
I'll
have a
join.
place to
I'll join
stay.
Josh and Janine. I'll be like, hey, take me with you next time you go, because they make it into the studio all the time. I'm super jealous.
They're like
They
there
get to-
every weekend. We'll go. I'll just use an excuse. I'm going to visit my sister Hannah, who works
There
in New
we
York
go.
City, and I'll be like, I got to go visit Hannah. I'm going to fit in a little run here at the Peloton studio with Bex, and maybe a bike ride with Matt. So
There you go. We do have quite similar schedules. Quite a lot of people come in and ride with Matt, and then they come and run with me on a Saturday. They do one after the other. So
I would.
Perfect.
That would be
let
me.
us know. Let us
And I
know
would
when
love-
you make it in.
Yeah,
Thank
that would
you.
be a blast. So thank you, Bex. You're amazing. Can't believe we did it, but it is here. This whole podcast thing is so much fun. It's growing. This has just been a blast. Thanks for coming on and sharing your stories and giving us. You spared no details. And you did the assignment. It was amazing. So Bex, thank you. I hope all you enjoyed that. Becs Gentry on the On the Runs podcast.